Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Happy Thursday. Today we're,
Thursday.
yeah. All I'm drinking
That
is
we won't
water,
celebrate.
though.
Yeah, me too.
um, Today is one of my cases. I'm covering another, strange, mysterious death because they're my favorite. They're my favorite to learn about and research. Today I'll be telling the story of Jonathan Luna, a 38-year-old assistant attorney from Baltimore who was found dead in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
No,
this one hits
I
home,
have never heard of it.
and it's a
Yeah,
very
like
weird one.
literally.
And there was a very
Yeah,
roundabout
very.
way of how he got here. Because he has no ties to Lancaster.
Wow.
He's not
Okay.
from Lancaster. So,
Oh,
yeah. No ties to Lancaster whatsoever.
wow. You got me intrigued.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So Jonathan Paul Luna was born on October 21st, 1965 in the Bronx, New York City to Paul and Rosella Luna. His dad, Paul Luna, was Filipino and worked in restaurants, and his mom, Rosella, was black and was just a stay-at-home mom. Both of them are currently deceased now. Jonathan has an older brother named David Luna. In school, Jonathan was a good student. He wanted to be a journalist at one point, but in high school, he decided he wanted to be a lawyer instead. He enrolled at Hunter College in New York City, but transferred to Fordham University, which is a private university in the Bronx. He was then accepted into the prestigious University of North Carolina School of Law in Chapel Hill, and that is where he met his future wife, Angela Hopkins, who was an obstetrician. He graduated law school in 1992, and they got married on August 29th, 1993, and had two sons. He worked at Arnold and Porter private law firm in Washington, D.C. from 1993 to 1994, where he was one of only a few black attorneys at the firm at that time. The firm's managing partner said Luna was a superb young lawyer who got off to a fast start in his career. He was also unusually warm, likable, thoughtful, and generous person who was obviously very close to his family. Luna then worked for the Federal Trade Commission from 1994 to 1997. After this, he served as a prosecutor in the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office from June 1997 to June 1999, before moving to Baltimore to become an assistant district attorney in 1999. District Attorney spokesman Jerry Schmetterer described Luna as a dedicated, conscientious, and extremely competent prosecutor. In
Okay.
September 2002, Luna was involved in a bank robbery case in which more than $36,000 of evidence money went missing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow. That's a chunk.
it sure is. It's unclear if that money was stolen or embezzled. Luna had fears
Oh,
at this time that he would lose his job over the case, and he retained his own attorney. I guess nothing ever came of this because he continued working. So I don't think that I don't know if they ever solved what happened to that $36,000.
that was hush money.
I guess so, yeah.
Stay quiet.
Maybe. You never know. On December 3rd, 2003, he was prosecuting a drug case that wasn't going very well. Two Baltimore men, Dion Leonel Smith and Walter O. Poindexter, were accused of selling heroin, and Poindexter also faced a murder charge. One of those men was a rapper who was accused of running a violent heroin ring out of his music studio. The chief witness, Warren Grace, was a convicted heroin dealer working as a paid FBI informant, but had broken the conditions of the program by slipping out of his electronic monitoring device and having heroin unrelated to the case in his vehicle, among some other allegations. That information came out during the trial, and defense attorneys accused Luna of failing to disclose this information. The
Okay.
defendants then decided on a plea bargain. Jonathan called the defense attorney around 9:30 p.m. saying he was going back to the office to finalize both written agreements and would fax it to him that night. That fax would never come. I'm sorry. So he was then found dead the next morning on December 4th, 2003 in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
My case was December 6th, and yours is
December 3rd and
December.
4th.
Yeah,
But mine's
sorry.
2003, but
But
yeah.
again, yeah, close to
Yeah.
Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Why
Yeah.
these always happen around
I
that
know. A
time?
lot of crimes do.
Ugh,
So I'm going to go back to the night of the 3rd again because there's a lot of weird things that happen from him leaving the courthouse to being found that next morning. And it makes part of why this case is so weird. So after he tells the attorney he's going
I'm
to fax the
hoping there.
agreements, he goes back home. What'd you say?
I'm hoping since it's 2003, maybe there's some surveillance or not yet.
Sort in some parts, but not a
Okay.
lot.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
probably wouldn't be that common
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he tells the attorney he's going back to fax the agreements, and then he goes back home. But around 11 p.m., he gets a phone call at home and tells his wife he needs to go back into the office. So 11 p.m. is a little late to be going back to do work. He
Yeah.
gets there and then leaves the district court building around 11:38 p.m. At 11:49 p.m., his car drives through Fort McHenry Tunnel Toll Plaza, which is in Baltimore, heading northbound on I-95. At 12:28 a.m., his car drives through Perryville Toll Plaza, which is still in Maryland, heading northbound, and at 12:46 he crosses through the Delaware Line toll. At 12:57 a.m., his debit card was used to withdraw $200 from an Exxon gas station at the JFK Service Plaza off I-95 in Newark, Delaware. Around 12:37 a.m., Luna's car enters the New Jersey Turnpike Interchange 6A from Route 130. Then at 2:47 a.m., his car enters the Pennsylvania Turnpike Interchange 359 at Delaware River Bridge. A strange detail is that instead of using his Easy Pass to zip through a toll plaza as he had done so far that night, he stops to take a ticket in the cash-only lane.
Okay.
His toll ticket is later found to have blood on it, suggesting he may have already been injured at this time. And
Oh,
maybe
okay.
someone else was in the car with him or driving the car, but we'll get to that.
Oh,
At
okay, okay,
3:20
okay.
a.m., his debit card was used to buy gas at a Sunoco gas station in King of Prussia. If he'd intended all along to travel from the courthouse to that exit, the driving point from A to B should have been no more than a 2-hour drive, but it took him more than 4 hours to get from Baltimore to King of Prussia. So what all was he doing in
Someone,
those extra 2 hours?
someone was in the car with him.
That's what it seems like.
Someone was in the car with this man.
At 4:04 a.m., Luna's car exited the Pennsylvania Turnpike at exit 286, the Reading-Lancaster interchange. His car was then parked at the back of the Sensenig and Weaver Well Drilling Company at 1439 Dry Tavern Road. This is in Denver, Pennsylvania, which is Brecknock Township. The first employee arrived to work around 5 a.m., and Luna's car was noticed around 5:30. The car's lights were off, a door was open, and the front end was in a stream. Blood was smeared over the driver's door and the front left of the car, and a pool of blood was found on the rear seat of the floor. His wallet and some of his credit cards were still in the vehicle, as well as most of the $200 he'd withdrawn from the ATM, which was scattered around in the car. Luna was found
Wow.
face down in the stream. He was wearing a suit and a black overcoat with his court ID around his neck, and he had been stabbed 36 times with his own pocket knife. The
Wow.
Lancaster County coroner who performed the autopsy ruled Luna's death a homicide by drowning, even though he was stabbed 36 times, including in the neck. But drowning was what killed him.
So he was still alive?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
The coroner considered it likely that the prosecutor had been tortured, possibly for the purpose of extracting information.
Mm.
Luna left his glasses, which he needed to drive, and his cell phone on his desk at work. The pool of blood in the back seat would suggest Luna was in the back seat and someone else was driving. So it makes you
Okay.
wonder, like, if these injuries at, like, maybe started at the courthouse and he was, like,
Yeah.
taken hostage or something, because he got that phone call at
That's
11 p.m., went to the courthouse, then left shortly
yeah.
after. So, like, was he meeting up with somebody?
Yeah.
Because he
And
was in the
but like
process of doing this plea bargain. Maybe someone was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't know.
listen, what exactly is the motive here?
That's the thing. I don't know.
Because that makes no sense.
Other than
Why
maybe revenge for, I don't know. Because
did
the one guy was like
they
a
do
rapper,
you know?
so I'm sure, you know, there's lots of violence in the rap world and murders.
Yeah.
So maybe he got one
Yeah.
of his people to take him out. I don't know.
I know, but for what though? Like that is, I mean, I guess,
Even the two
somebody
hundred
who
dollars
has
he pulled
money.
out was still there. It's like
Yeah,
money
like so it's
wasn't the
not a
motive.
robbery.
His credit
No.
cards were there. His wallet was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um and the ticket from the toll,
Hmm.
is that confirmed his blood on there?
I didn't read that anywhere. It just said there was blood on it.
Okay, because I was wondering then, because they're sitting here theorizing that he was in the back seat, but for him to
Hmm.
grab a ticket, is there proof that he grabbed it out of the back seat or was it the front seat?
Right, I don't know.
There
Yeah,
was no
they could have
surveillance
driven up for him
holes
to
then,
pull it. Yeah, I don't know. Unless he was driving at some point and then got in the back after another, because they got off so many exits.
Well, he obviously had to be in the front. There was smear of blood on the front
Hmm.
door.
Yeah. So
So
he
he
was in the
obviously was
front
in
at
the
some
front
point and then maybe moved to the
at
back
some point bleeding.
after one of the
Yeah.
stops. Yeah, I don't know.
That's what
Like,
I'm
where
thinking is that
did they pick someone else
maybe
up?
he got,
Maybe there was more than just one other
or like
person in the car.
maybe he got to a point where he's like, oh, I can't drive anymore, I'm so injured.
Hmm.
So whoever his hostage takers were threw him in the back
Yeah,
and continued driving.
that's possible. Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
The FBI initially said that he had no defensive wounds, which hinted at a self inflicted manner of death.
Oh my, why are you picking these all the
So, trigger warning suicide will be brought up. I just.
time?
This is my signature move at work when some bullshit's happening. I just have to put my face in my
All right,
palm
here,
for a
me and
minute
you.
and collect myself. Because,
That'll be our thumbnail.
yeah, I should be. Because I do that all the time at work when something dumb happens, I'm like, or I get a dumb text from the supervisor, or they're assigning this patient that should absolutely not be on my unit. Anyway, I facepalm
Don't
all
get
the
me
time.
started.
So again, like in Ellen's case, how is this suicide?
I Yep.
And
That's
why
He
is
just
that
drove
always
himself all
an
the way there.
option? Why is that always a consideration?
It's the easy way out, I guess.
Kim MacLeod, who was responsible for preparing Jonathan's body for viewing, stated that he had obvious defensive wounds and that his hands were shredded with deep cuts and slashes on his fingers and palms. Police officers who had been at the scene agreed with this. There was even a mention of a cut to his genitals.
Oh,
So yeah, that's not
okay.
suicide.
Well, wait. So, who reported that? It was the police earlier that had
The
reported
police
that?
noticed that, as well as the person at the funeral home preparing his body for viewing. But the FBI
No, but
wanted
earlier,
to say this could have
earlier,
been self inflicted.
who's who? Earlier, who said that? That he had no defense wounds. Earlier,
The FBI.
was that that was the
The
FBI?
FBI.
No,
Cover
there's
up.
okay. Because then I, well, that's what I was trying to like in my head
hmm
make it like a cover up. But
hmm
why are we jumping straight to the FBI here?
Because he's a
Why didn't
federal
we jump?
prosecutor. So they had to get involved.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha now.
hmm
Okay.
Yep.
Right. Well, he didn't cover all bases because the police said it too, dude.
Right.
Pay off all the people you're gonna pay off.
Nope.
Like, don't be cheap. You can't half-ass something like that.
I know.
I mean, not encouraging, but I'm just saying, like,
Right. Put some more effort in.
yeah, like the police literally were like, nah. He
Yeah.
literally looks like he
There's
had a
defensive wounds
hand-to-hand
here.
combat with
hmm
a knife, apparently.
Yeah.
So,
While investigating his case, it was found that Luna allegedly had a credit card debt of $25,000 that his wife was unaware of, and that he'd been active on internet dating sites. So the
mm,
FBI was using that, like stress over personal problems and financial issues, to say he could have been suicidal. Like, what? So he drives
wait,
to
so
4 hours to Lancaster, Pennsylvania to stab himself 36 times and throw himself in a stream?
yeah,
That's
because of
how
a
he's going to
dating
commit
app and a
suicide?
little bit of debt. Yeah. You can't tell me that that's the final ruling on this. You can't tell me that.
We're going to get there.
Okay. I will riot if there's like three in a row here.
um, because there's also like talks like, could he have been going to meet up with someone on one of these internet dating sites and it went really bad?
No.
But
No.
that doesn't explain him the blood on the ticket and him going through all these weird
Yeah, a
exits
4 hour drive that should have been two
that could have been
hours.
two.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, if you're going to go meet a girl, you're 80 down the highway. Let's go.
right. Yeah.
You're not roundabout your way there.
Right. Nope. So we're going to go from 2003 up to 2006 now. So in 2006, the FBI was allegedly pressuring coroner Gary Kirchner to change the official ruling from murder to suicide. But he refused, agreeing with the original findings.
Okay. All right.
Thank God someone chooses to stand firm
Yeah.
against police saying, no, change this to suicide.
Right? Like, don't be so scared. They're
Right.
not as big and bad as you
No.
think.
I mean, they might have you killed, but that's all.
Justice. Justice.
Um,
Ugh.
so, yeah, again, another case where why are officials pressuring medical examiners to change their ruling? It is their job to determine the ruling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, again,
Stay in your lane.
screaming cover up.
Yeah.
The FBI did end up offering a reward of $100,000 for info on Jonathan's case. Unfortunately, little progress has been made in the investigation into his death. No suspects have ever been officially named. Federal investigators even theorized that Jonathan had been attempting to stage his own kidnapping and simply went too far.
Oh, here, do it with me.
Yeah, yeah. Let's just excuse me.
It's
Excuse squeeze me.
yes, squeeze
I'm gonna I'm gonna stage
me.
my own kidnapping. And then in the process I'm gonna stab myself 36 times. Pull out some
And throw
cash and
myself.
throw it all over my car.
Yep,
And fall into a stream.
yep, straight from the courthouse.
Yeah. Yep. I'm
Yep,
gonna go to work and then start this elaborate kidnapping.
yeah.
Sure.
Get out of here. Go on, get.
Jonathan's family and friends believe there's a cover up happening, and they hired a PI.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think they're high
How
me.
else can you explain it?
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Private investigator Ed Martino came to believe that the attorney, Jonathan, was murdered by a corrupt federal agent. So that's kind of an
Okay,
interesting take as well. Not even
it
just
is.
someone that he's prosecuting, but another agent. The only thing I don't know is what is the
Yeah.
motive there as well.
No, yeah, I don't know any sort of like these aren't making sense in the motive, but then as you're telling me these like there's connections,
Mm-hmm.
like
Right.
there's those slight connections of the federal cases, corrupt FBI and things like that, but there's no motive here.
No.
So,
Because the only thing that was happening at this time was them or him prosecuting this heroin ring case.
yeah, and you can't tell me that what he was working on and what he was busting even with the rapper was worth all this.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a high profile case here.
No. To whatever, yeah, that's why, like, I don't understand, like, whoever did kill him, like, what was the motive?
Yeah, why? There really is I don't see one. There
And
unless
how did they end up here
like
in Lancaster?
there's
Why did they come the whole way here?
yeah. I'm really thinking that it was just by I know there's no coincidences in true crime,
Mm-hmm.
but I
There's
have a
exceptions to
feeling
every
that
rule.
they were yes, that they were just driving not really with a destination and that's just where they ended up if they're taking them
I don't know. I
hostage.
mean, it just seems so random to come here, good old Amish country, and dump a body in a stream.
I know, because you know what? I was thinking like maybe they're coming to good old Pennsylvania to find somewhere to get rid of the body, but they didn't get rid of the
No,
body in
because
like
why
any
wouldn't they
kind
have
of
put it in the
secretive
woods?
way.
Like we have plenty of woods. Uh, like why
Yeah,
are they put it behind
the
a
Susquehanna,
building,
anything. Yeah,
a business,
yeah,
and a little stream behind a business? Like, how did they end up there? Like, it doesn't make any sense,
yeah. That is so weird.
right? Author William Kiesling wrote a book on the case titled "The Midnight Ride of Jonathan Luna." And he believes that he was murdered over a case that he'd been working on and that there was a plot to cover this up. So again, more talk of a cover up. And then I
Okay.
think that The Midnight Ride of Jonathan Luna, I think it was also becoming a movie or a documentary too that I was seeing in my research. Law enforcement said that Jonathan's Honda Accord had been left in neutral at the creek and that it appeared an attempt had been made to push it on top of his body. His vehicle eventually vanished and can no longer be used as evidence.
What?
Yep.
Yep, it is a cover up. Yeah,
Like,
that was the straw that broke the
how
camel's
does
back for
the whole
me.
car in a crime scene vanish?
Yeah, because I mean they keep them
How does any
in a
evidence
lot.
vanish?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
A whole vehicle gone. Lots of evidence in
That's
that
because
vehicle, and it's gone.
that's where all the evidence
Yeah,
was.
everything happened in that vehicle,
So yeah,
and it's gone.
it's a cover up. I agree with you. Because who else would have the capabilities of getting rid of an entire ass car other
The
than
FBI.
like the
Hmm.
FBI or police or
Yeah.
somebody who have the means to hush
Hmm.
everybody and get that
Yeah.
job done?
And it's scary to think about that this happens, that this is happening.
It is scary to think that people have that power
Yeah.
out there. That is scary.
Yeah. And they can just get away with it.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what all Trump's gotten away with, and he got
Nobody bats
elected
an eye.
president. He has plenty of
Yeah,
felonies,
felonies.
you know? It doesn't
Yeah.
matter in the federal world.
No. Yeah. Wow. We fucked up,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
So on February 14th, 2004, investigators announced that after another sweep of the crime scene area off Dry Tavern Road in Brecknock Township, they had discovered a penknife that they believe was used in the attack on Luna, so it was his. It was unclear why the knife was found 2.5 months after the killing and was missed in the extensive search during the case's early days.
Yeah. That kind of important. It's
Yeah.
evidence,
How
obviously,
was
and
that
a weapon.
missed? And it found randomly 2.5 months later after they decided to go back to the scene. Since then, not much has really happened, sadly. There have been several battles over records and information in this case. The coroner who made the initial homicide ruling has since died, but his two successors have maintained that finding.
Good.
Autopsy records
Wow.
in.
Unfortunately, that's. I'm glad that they're like holding up their end,
Right.
but
Yeah, because he was murdered.
this ain't gonna go anywhere.
Mm.
Yeah. He was murdered, yeah. But it's like they're the only peoples holding out on the right side of this
Mm-hmm.
here.
Yeah.
It feels
And I
like.
hope it stays that way.
I hope so too.
Autopsy records in Pennsylvania are presumed to be public record, but Luna's records had long been thought to be lost. In January 2020, they were found in the Lancaster County archives. Not long after this discovery, the DA's office had them sealed on the grounds that releasing them could jeopardize the investigation into Luna's death. What investigation?
What? Yeah. What
You're not doing
investigation? You're not
anything.
investigating anything. No. You're just. They're just covering it
Mm-hmm.
up.
So how
That was
can
just
them
another
seeing
tiny.
how the autopsy report jeopardize anything?
And what the heck, Lancaster? In an archive
Right?
somewhere? Do better.
Yeah. Like I literally live like
These are.
less than a 5 minute drive from the building. Like I should go in there and beat some ass. I should go
Yeah.
cause a
Go.
scene.
Go throw down and be like, "Excuse me."
Like this is crazy.
It is. I can't like you now that we're every step you're taking it is one step more into covering up.
Yes.
It's
Like how does no one else see that?
I don't
Me
know.
either.
Even the blind can see it over
Yeah.
here.
And I'm pretty blind myself. In 2020, Lancaster newspaper went to court in an effort to compel the district attorney's office to release coroner's office records, But Lancaster County Judge David Ashworth sided with the DA about keeping it closed. I don't know what
Okay.
investigation they think it might jeopardize, but like again, like I said, it doesn't seem like it's very active.
No.
I actually recently shared an article on this case on Facebook, on my own personal Facebook, because on January 31st, 2025, which is ironically the day the coroner in Ellen's case changed his mind. Um,
Oh, okay.
so a lot happened on January 31st, 2025. Judge Ashworth, who in 2020 refused to release the records, offered the DA's office um, or ordered the DA's office to provide a detailed update on the current investigative status of the case by March 7th. So it's
Okay.
March 27th
Well,
now.
yeah.
It said Ashworth will then review the records in camera, meaning it will be in his chambers, not in open court. He'll then schedule a meeting with the DA's office and Lancaster newspaper representatives. So, like I said, it's March 27th when we're recording this, and nothing has been announced from that yet.
We'll get on it,
I
Kirsten.
know.
Come
Like I
on.
said, I gotta
You're
drive
right
down
down the
there
street.
and make
Yeah,
a scene. Someone
you
knows
do.
something.
Yeah. There was there are so many hands in this
Mm-hmm.
pot. Somebody's got a
Man up. Grow some
rat.
balls.
Yeah, come and close this case.
Yeah.
Ugh,
So that's really the ending. Like,
nothing.
no. I mean, I hope something comes of them reviewing the records. I don't even know if it was confirmed because he was giving the DA's office until March 7th to like come up with an update on the investigative status of the case. But like I said, how are they going to update? Like, what has been happening behind the scenes to solve this?
Yeah. Like, yeah, what investigation? What
Mm-hmm.
why are we sealing things anyway?
Yeah.
Like, prove to me that you're actually
Mm-hmm.
trying. Like, you're not even giving us whatever angle. Like, at least in the case that I just did with the yogurt shops, we at least have DNA we're trying to work
Right.
with. What angle are they coming at
I don't know.
here?
Yeah. And with the car gone, did they collect DNA? What
Yeah,
all
like,
was in the car that we
now
could have
what?
used? That's just missing.
Yeah, and now that there's no evidence, the car's missing. So what are you investigating? Tell us you've got other
Yeah.
things or something.
How about you give me an update,
I'm,
DA office?
yeah,
I want answers.
at lurking in the shadows at gmail.com.
Yes. You got our contact info. I'll start a
Uh,
riot downtown in the square.
let's
Yeah.
go. I'll be there.
But yeah, it's crazy.
That's
This attorney from
that is
Baltimore
crazy.
is murdered for God who knows what reason, and then he's bodies dumped in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and that's how many years old now? That would be 20,
21 years ago.
21 years ago.
Well, I guess almost 21.
Almost 21.
Right? Yeah, it was December
Wow.
2003. So it was like 22 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. That's all these cases, how
I
old they've
know.
gotten.
And like I still like 2003 still feels like 10 years ago to me. Like the fact that
I know.
it's over 20 years ago, I can't accept that.
That's,
I I
nope.
cannot accept that.
It's disgusting. Mm-mm.
Like
It's not real.
I
This
would
is
do anything to go back
all
to
it is.
2003. I'd give up my life
I
savings
would.
to be able to go back in time. The early 2000s were the best, aside from these murders. Um,
Aside from these
it
murders.
was such an easier
Yeah, I
time.
mean, it was. I missed the
There was no
90s.
social
Yeah, and early
media.
2000s. Yeah.
Music was better. Movies were better. people were
Yeah.
better in some ways.
Because we didn't have social
Yeah.
media to taint
Hmm.
us so much back then.
Yeah. And like even
Yeah.
celebrities dressed like normal people back then.
Yep. Yeah, simpler
Yeah,
time.
it was. And I get
It
depressed each
was.
day thinking about it.
That we're here
Yeah.
now in
Yeah.
2025. Well, make like a shadow and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at.
Lurking in the Shadows podcast.
Follow us on TikTok at.
Lurking in the Shadows pod.
Send us a Gmail.
DA's office at lurking in the shadows podcast at gmail.com. And keep lurking around for our next episode. Bye.
Bye.